Bring Back the Porch. Welcome to Bring Back the Porch. This is the first podcast of Bring Back the Porch. And I'm very excited about it. And I'm just going to introduce people that are with me. To my left is Greg Keane, longtime Medicine Hat resident and my partner in real estate. And these people will talk in a little bit. To my right is Nicole, who has been a banker for Ina and I for many years. Good lady, Saskatchewan, born and raised from Weyburn, good farm girl, and a good banker, and even a better human being.
Oh, thanks, Bernie.
And over here is my wife, Ina, and Ina has agreed to join us for the inaugural podcast, which is nice, and she'll be able to straighten us all out.
And where are we located, Bernie?
Where are we located? Well, we're in Medicine Hat, Alberta, Canada, and I'm born and raised in Medicine. Well, no, I was born in Medicine Hat. I was raised in Suffield or Ralston, and we moved out of there when I was 17, came to Medicine Hat, and I've been here ever since. And I, out of high school, I started working in the jail. And so I didn't know what I was going to do. And so a friend and I, we applied to work in the jail, and we got the job. So for 10 years, I worked in the city jail, which was quite interesting and shaped me for the rest of my life. And I'm not sure in a good way. And then I went into funeral service, which was a career that I really enjoyed. I went into funeral service with McGinnis and Holloway out of Calgary. Did that for about 4 years, I guess. And then they moved the funeral home, sold the funeral home here, and wanted me to go to Calgary, and I didn't want to go to Calgary, so I wanted to stay in Medicine Hat. And I didn't know what to do, but I took 15 months off and did a lot of volunteer work with Palliative Care Society and a lot of hours at the hospital, and helped cancer patients and helped them, go to the cancer clinic. And then during that time, I didn't really, at the end of that 15 months, I needed to get to work, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I could go back to Calgary and go back into funeral service. And I said to a friend of mine when I was sitting on his back deck that I thought about real estate, and he said, "Oh, you're crazy. You'll never make it." And so that was on a Sunday, and on Monday I signed up for the real estate course, and that was in 1994 or 95, I'm not sure. And I took the real estate course, and I guess the rest is history. I've been in real estate since 1995, so quite a while now, and starting to get old, and I got to come up with a hobby. And so, because I don't have any hobbies. So
You don't call drinking coffee a hobby.
Well, I do have one hobby. Call me Mr. Nabob. I do like coffee, and I like going to coffee shops. And so about 2.5 years ago, I thought about a podcast, and I thought it would be neat to have a podcast called Bring Back the Porch. And this is pre-COVID. And because porches were, when I was...
Before you get too far into this, so the biggest question people are going to have off the top is, why bring back the porch?
That's a good question. So my answer to that is, when I was a kid, growing up in Ralston, we didn't have a porch. We had a step. But every night in the summer, spring, weather permitting, my mom and dad would be on the step. And my brother and I would be out on the step. And Jack McGarry and his wife would be out on their step, and we'd play baseball, and people would walk by, and it was nice, and it was safe, and everybody knew everybody. And, people would walk by with their dogs and their new babies, and their kids would come back from university or whatever. And it was really nice. And it was a good, things were different, obviously. There was no TV, there was no internet, there was no laptops, iPads. Well, there wasn't anything. There was TV with one station.
You had to make your own entertainment.
That's right. And where I lived, we had it because it was an amazing place. And we're going to do some podcasts about Ralston, I hope, because it was it turned into a military base, but it was a defense research base. But we had indoor swimming pool, we had gymnasium, we had amazing things there. It was an incredible place to grow up. And then the British Army came, and the Canadian Army, and the place even got better. And then, our whole town almost overnight just grew into, we had lots of houses that were empty, and then we had lots of British people there, and it just turned the whole town into a different town. And it was an amazing place to grow up. Unique, and a lot of people would never ever experience that.
The house you grew up still there?
It is. Ina and I go out maybe 3 times a year. We'll go out on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon and get a coffee at Tim's or at the gas bar or whatever it's called. And then we'll drive around. And then about 2 years ago, remember, we were in the back alley and the family that was in the house, we spoke to them.
Oh, if the back alley could talk.
Yeah, it was it. Yeah.
That's another podcast.
Yeah, let's go back to the front of the house and the stoop of the house and tell us why that was so important to you.
Well, I'm just talking about that family. Remember, they invited us in.
Yes.
And I didn't want to go in, which is weird. Because but I would go in next time. I'm not sure what, it was a privacy thing maybe. I didn't want to bother them. 7 Larkhill Lane, by the way. Good street, right across from the rec center.
I'm sure they're happy you put that on here.
So if you ever want an afternoon drive,
They had a really
From
cute little
Medicine
golden
Hat.
retriever puppy in the backyard.
And they were a nice couple.
They were nice
Very
couple.
nice people. So bring back the porch. Why is, I think a lot of people talk about people talk about a lot of things on their porch. And I think that's kind of what we want to do on this podcast is talk about a lot of things, things that are good, things that are helpful, finance, social issues, real estate, what's going on in Medicine Hat, the arts, have different kinds of people that come on the program, talk about different things that are going on. And it doesn't cost anything. People can come on our podcast and, we've got the stuff and a little bit of money to edit. We don't have any budget, by the way. We're broke.
See what I can do.
But we'll be okay. So Leahy Keane, Greg and I, with our real estate business, then we provide this and we support it, and then eventually we do everything through Buzzsprout, which is the company that takes the podcast and puts it out, and we'll monetize it. That's the word. And if we make a little bit of money, then we'll support that men's group,
The Interman Project.
Interman Project. I really like that group. I've never met those guys, but I think if we could ever help them out, if it comes to that, then we would help them out. Women's shelter, and we'll just see what happens. We'll have fun with it. The reason we went at it so quickly, because I only talked to some people as yourself today, because we kind of scrambled because of this new COVID and with the election. And I thought, because of COVID and no forums and things like that, it would be really nice to get some of the candidates, whoever wants to to be able to come and just have more availability to the public and get their word out and get their platforms out.
When you think about Bring Back the Porch and what you're, you mentioned the word like it was a safe place and neighborly, and why do you think that's not happening so much maybe today, or is it?
I think maybe it's me, but I think people are starting to do more work in the front of their house. On our street, down the street, well, two houses. The house next to us, they built a nice area in the front of their house, right? Mm-hmm. And then down the street, they put on a really nice, I don't know, like a deck in the front of their house. So that's just one street. So I think you see a little bit more of people, and even in their garages, people are opening up their front garages and having chairs. And
So I think for me, what I saw is when COVID first happened and people weren't allowed to socialize, they weren't allowed to have people in their homes, people invited their friends onto their front driveways. And you saw a lot of people around Medicine Hat visiting outside. And it brought people together.
yeah, I think it's good.
And it's interesting because thinking in the real estate world, you can show people houses, and there's some people, they're wanting that backyard that's got privacy and no one can see them, and with a big fence, and how high can you put your fence, and can you put it over 6 feet, depending on your neighbors.
Can you cover it in?
And I think Medicine Hat is a great example of how when homes were first built, like if you go to the Hill, Aberdeen and Belfast, you have all those front porches out front. And then as we've had generations and we've moved out of downtown and we've gone to Southbridge and Ranchlands, you don't see anything in the front of the house, and it's all in the back of the house, and it's all more private. So people have become more private, maybe. I don't know. It's a very interesting concept.
Yeah, and I think suburbs, you get out of the city and farther from downtown,
Yeah.
and bigger yards, more privacy, and it's kind of gone that way. And then how much has technology changed things for us, and the culture of who we are. I think about my grandkids now, and they're on phones and they can do some things that I can't even do. And I mean, I'm talking a 4-year-old, and how much that what's it going to look like in another 20 or 30 years if we don't have Bring Back the Porch to bring the porch back?
Absolutely. That's why we're here.
Do you know what I also love about porches is, when you have people over in your house when you're allowed and it's time to go. And then you end up having a whole nother conversation in the porch. So you have to plan your evening around what that end of night porch conversation is, because that's when the good ideas happen.
Yeah, I just think porches are great. I don't think anybody ever got hurt by a porch.
No, I agree.
And I think a lot of
Except that one house that the timbers are kind of falling down on the porch. We don't want to go on that porch.
No, I've been on a few porches, especially a guy like me. He can move a porch, and where I wouldn't want to stay there very often. But we can fix those. But
So maybe there's your next career is fixing porches.
No, I'm done.
Okay.
No, I've had 3 careers, and when I leave real estate, that'll be it. Not sure when that is, but I'm okay.
Maybe once the porch is brought back.
Yeah. I could do this, I think. I mean, especially with somebody like Tyson, because all I do is sit.
And talk.
And talk. And have a coffee. But no, I think a lot of, I think we could do a lot of really neat programs. I watch YouTube a lot, and one thing that I really like watching is guys and girls who live in their vans, especially since COVID. And a lot of people got rid of their apartments. And so Ina and I, about 2 months ago, I follow a guy named Jeffy Bear who lives in his van down by the river. As wasn't that on a program?
Yes.
What's his name?
SpongeBob?
No, the Canadian guy. He passed away, the big guy. He would give inspirational speeches, and he would talk about John. What was his name, Tyson?
John Candy?
No, not John. Chris Farley.
Oh, Chris Farley.
And he would give motivational speeches, and he would say, I live in a van down by the river. Come on, ladies.
I don't know.
I know the
Don't
fat
know.
guy little coat
No.
bit.
So, what was I talking about?
The man in the van.
Yeah.
Man, yeah.
Jeffy Bear.
Oh, yeah, Jeffy Bear. So, and he's got a neat story, Jeffy Bear. He bought a van. He fixed it up as a camper van. He pulls in at night and sleeps wherever, and goes to the gym, Anytime Fitness, and showers all over the place because he's got a key fob, and then he has a YouTube channel, so he goes all over the place and goes on YouTube. So he came to Medicine Hat, or he was coming through Medicine Hat, and he put on his YouTube that he was parked at out by the highway, that new truck stop.
The Flying J?
The Flying J. So I went out there, but he was sleeping, I think. And then about 2 hours later, I was on my way home, and he was parked at Tim Hortons downtown. Were you with me, Ina?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I pull up beside Jeffy, and I said, Jeffy Bear, how's it going? And so we had a talk, and then Ina and I took him out for dinner that night. And so he was on his way to Ontario to see his kids, and now he's coming back. So he's got a big a good following on YouTube. And so I talked to him yesterday. He's coming back, and we're going to have him on a podcast.
Nice.
Sorry, I can't tell.
And he's obviously successful because if you're buying him dinner, I assume other people are also buying him dinner.
I don't know that. Probably.
It's an idea.
Yeah, he's a good guy. So, should we talk about the flowers? So,
The Tilted Tulip?
the tilted tulip flowers.
Not that I know my flowers or anything, but hey.
No, and so the other day, Ina and I had coffee, and we took a walk downtown, and we went by this store, by the old bus station, and there was a girl working in there. I don't know why, I just opened the door. It wasn't open. Like, the business wasn't open. So we went in there and started talking to her, and so she's starting a flower store.
It's because I've ordered from her and she worked out of her garage, but I knew she was moving downtown.
Oh.
And I said to you, let's go see if we can find Tilted Tulip. And that's why we went for that walk.
Oh.
And you opened the door?
And there she is, the lady. Her name's Nicole. And so, and she's been working hard, and she's putting in a good effort, right?
Yes, she's a very hard worker.
Hard worker.
I think she's been doing it for about 3 years already out of her garage.
Out of her
Yes.
garage.
Yep.
So she's taken the leap, and she's opened up her own business. And so we spoke with her, and so I said to her, we're going to start a podcast. And we're going to have flowers from your shop on our podcast. And we have some today. And Tyson's got them there. And that's a nice bouquet?
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
It's a very nice bouquet.
Yeah. Oh, that was great.
Sorry. Did you smell that?
That was like a clean kick.
The flowers were talking to you.
Flowers from the Tilted Tulip.
Yes. So we bought them. I mean, Nicole's just starting out. We certainly weren't looking for any donations or anything. And so we're going to have a podcast tomorrow with Lindsay Clark. And I don't know when this podcast will hit the air. Would we be able to do a little bit of a Facebook thing tomorrow? And then after the podcast tomorrow, we'd really like, kind of to take them to somebody that's maybe going through a rough time or had a bad week, or they would just be here. So if somebody can email us, it'll be bring back the porch at, I don't remember what it is, but I'll look it up. I think it's info@bringbacktheporch.com, but we'll edit it in.
or .ca?
It could be .ca.
To be determined.
Tyson's going to figure this out. But anyways, thank you to Nicole. These are great, and we'll try to support you as much as we can. And then the other thing today, I've never had food out of a truck for whatever reason. I just haven't. So Greg and I were downtown having a meeting today. We were on our way home, and I walked down 3rd Street, and there was a truck with the wood fire going on in it. I've never seen that. So I was talking to these guys, and it's a Forno oven, and they make pizza.
Some of the best pizza you ever have.
I had a good pizza today, and Hawaiian kind of pizza.
Try their Gypsy Girl or Flamin' Gypsy next time.
Really?
Yep.
So my car was parked right behind them. So I ordered the pizza, talked to them, told me where they got the wood from and how it all works. And they made the pizza, and then I sat right behind them. And then when the pizza was done, they came right to my car and put it and gave it to me. And their name is
Gypsy Girl, but they are going to be called the Bourbon Brothers.
Oh, you know a lot about these people.
I've had a lot of pizza.
And it's good, isn't it?
It is very good.
It's amazing.
Yes.
And then you took it home and shared it with your wife for lunch, I'm guessing.
No, I took it home, and I sat at the end of the island, and Guinness is here. Nope, Murphy's there, Guinness, and Jack. And that's our dogs. I was home alone.
Did they get some pizza?
No.
But you had good company.
Oh, they're great company. Great dogs.
So maybe you will now take me to a food truck to eat?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I would go anywhere those guys. That was amazing. That place was, I don't know why I've never had food out of a food truck. It's just, I just don't ever think about it. I see them. I'm not big on the grease. Like, I have to be careful about that stuff. Not careful. It's just I eat too much. That's the problem.
And they're downtown all weekend, so you can take Anna tomorrow or Sunday.
We could all go.
Yes.
But this place was spotless. He had a nice truck, and I just can't get over it. This guy had a fire in his truck.
That's another concept of a fire truck.
Well, there was a fire in that truck. And I don't know why I'm so excited about it, but I got pretty excited about it.
Now you have to try all the other food trucks as well.
I don't think so.
See.
I don't know. I'm not. Well, you know what? I should go and look and see what they're all about. But that was good. I know. What would you like to do with Bring Back the Porch? What kind of people would you like to interview and bring on? And
Well, I think the first few podcasts that we're going to be doing are all of the people that are running for council and mayor, which I think is fabulous, to allow people of Medicine Hat to hear what all the candidates have to say. And then I really think that Bring Back the Porch needs to be just about anyone and everyone that wants to just get their story out. Yeah. And I think it's a free platform for people who are passionate about whatever their passion is and can come and tell their story.
Everyone has a story.
Everyone has a story.
Everyone has a story.
Absolutely.
yeah, I agree, 100%.
Bernie and I were at the coffee shop the other day and bumped into a fellow that used to come to the church, and we just said hi. We hadn't seen each other for a while, and I said, I brought it up. I knew that this fellow had been elsewhere in the world, and he actually used to work as a horticulturalist in a palace in Saudi Arabia. So we've got there's someone else that we could have on, Bring Back the Porch, and hear his story. Right here in Medicine Hat.
Absolutely.
We've got a guy that worked in a palace in Saudi Arabia.
Well, I chatted with Bernie about a gentleman who, born and raised in Medicine Hat, and was a photographer in Italy and in New York City. And he has an exhibit right now in Germany. And he's just going to talk to the producer, just contacted him about writing a book. And he's
very cool.
Medicine Hat man. Yep.
So this guy, Greg, is this man that Greg's talking about. Got out of his car at Tim Hortons. We were coming out of Tim's. Well, we couldn't get into Tim's because they had shut Tim's down because of COVID. What, didn't they?
Well, we couldn't sit in there.
Couldn't sit.
We weren't going to go in.
That's always a bad day for me. So
bring back Bernie's chair.
So this man gets out, and he's from the Philippines. And he's very excited to see Greg Keane. And Greg introduced me to him. And here's a guy who immigrated, went to school when he was 60, went to Greg's church. Greg was a pastor at a church. He gave Greg a couple of big hugs. Greg helped this guy spiritually a lot. That was very evident. And so I said to this guy, I said, I mean, it doesn't matter what his name is. But I said, you know, you have to come on on our podcast. It's an amazing story. And what these immigrants go through, and we've dealt with many of them in real estate, are phenomenal stories. And I love those stories. And I wish more of those stories could come out. And if we are able to, we will bring them out. The sacrifice and everything that they go through. And this guy was a neat guy. And so he's not really sure about the podcast, but I think we'll be okay. So, yeah. Greg, what do you want to do with bring back to Porch?
Yeah, I just think just to kind of piggyback on what Ina said, I think everyone's got a story. Medicine Hat is a great place to live. There are great people in our city, and just to be able to hear, in a safe place for people to be able to share, and we get to be the beneficiaries. You know, we get to be blessed by hearing people's stories, hearing about different subjects, learning, and it's something we can do for the rest of our lives.
Yes,
to learn
and reconnecting.
Yeah, for sure.
Reconnecting with people.
Yeah, and so really, when I say that this is for everybody, I mean that. If somebody emails and say, like Ina and I met somebody last week and told them about the podcast, and she was all excited and said, "Oh, I've always wanted to do that, and how do we do that, and what do we do?" And I've got all these things that I would like to. And this is a reasonable lady, right? She's not, doesn't want to talk about aliens or anything goofy. If that's goofy, I think it's goofy. But I guess should be careful.
So next week we'll be hearing about UFOs on Bring Back the Porch.
Well, Ina could host that one.
Okay. Anyway, what do you think, Nicole?
I think Bernie. I don't know if for those of you listening that don't know Bernie, he's a real fun guy, and hence why I'm here. And I think hearing people's stories, but not only that, having fun. Some of the stories probably won't be fun, but those of you that do have fun stories, to get out, tell a story, have some fun, reconnect with people, and it's just a great platform to have your voice heard and tell your story.
I think I was talking to Nicole earlier, and on the porch, finance. Nicole through COVID could probably
write a book
about and really I can speak for Greg and I can speak for a lot of realtors. COVID's not been a bad thing for realtors. We've been very, very lucky, and we've been very busy, and it hasn't really affected us in a negative way at all. But it's hurt a lot of people. Thankfully, the clients that we haven't really run into anybody that's run into trouble, and I'm not sure why that is, but that's the way it is. But we've been lucky, and if this is a way that we can help out, and I would like to do some programs and some podcasts about, some financial stuff and mortgages and people that are, been in their houses and looking at retirement and just what we can do to help them out in all that, but that's kind of where you come in, or you have a lot of experience and you know people that could help. So, anyways, I think this was a good first podcast. Tyson probably has more editing than he thought. And I want to thank you, Nicole. You did very well.
Oh, thank you, Bernie. This was fun.
And I think you could come back.
Okay.
And Ina will be back. Greg's the co-host. I just promoted him today.
Right at this moment.
I forgot to tell him we have no budget. And I also forgot to tell him we have no money.
So you're volunteering.
I already got paid.
Oh, yeah, he's easy when it comes to Tim's. So thank you very much. Tomorrow night, or tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock, I'm going to do a podcast with Lindsay Clark, and I'm looking forward to that. And so that will be the first political podcast that we do. I'll be meeting next week with Marco Jansen as well as Cassie Hyder. And it's just because we've been busy with some other stuff because we're still doing real estate and will continue. But we'll try to get in as many candidates as we can and give them at least 15, 20 minutes. And I think that'll be good. And if we want to do some, people want to do some live streaming where there's 4 or 5 or 6 candidates together, but just something where they have at least a little bit of time to answer questions. And
hopefully it will encourage people to make sure they go vote. It doesn't matter who you vote for. It matters that you vote.
Yeah. And you know what? Yeah. I think this year a lot of people are going to vote. I really do. And that would be great. But you're absolutely right. We have to get out there. And so that's it. Thanks very much.